Warwick Valley students, my name is Grant Lichtman. I live near San Diego, California. I'm an author, an educator, and I get to work with schools and districts, school communities around the country to help them think differently about their futures and the challenges that education provides for the future. I was brought in by Dr. Leach and your leadership team to help on a really exciting project that we've now started. We're calling #TheirFuture, and I'm especially excited that we've taken the opportunity to involve you students and a greater body of students in this process as we go forward. So I wanted to just provide a little bit of background into what the project is, what it's going to look like, and you're going to be kicking off with the leadership team and some of your teachers and administrators in the week and coming weeks ahead, participating in this project. This really started because Dr. Leach and others in the school district have understood that schools are facing a really fundamental challenge for the future. And they've articulated it this way for Warwick Valley School District. They've asked these questions: what should and can a Warwick Valley education look like? And what do you, our students, our children, need during their time in your schools to be really well prepared for your futures after you graduate from high school? An incumbent in these questions is a fundamental assumption, and that is that schools need to change somehow. And so we have to ask ourselves, why should we be contemplating changes in the structure and processes of education in Warwick Valley? I'm not going to go into this in a lot of detail, but I want to just maybe share with a couple of simple ideas. The first is this: the world really is changing at an incredible rate, and we have to prepare you for that future that is not as knowable, it's more ambiguous than the futures faced by any other former generation. This isn't just about technology rapidly evolving, but we see this increase in the rate of change globally in economics, politics, social structures, and the fact of the matter is that the world is not as knowable as it was for my generation, for our parents' generation. And so we have to construct an education system that gives you the skills, the knowledge sets that are going to prepare you to work in that future. Secondly, education has a very specific relationship and a unique relationship with the future and preparing students for that future. For as far as we can remember, probably going back 100,000 years since people first got around a campfire and were settled into villages, education has primarily been about the transfer of knowledge from a teacher to a student. That teacher might have been a parent or a coach or the best hunter in the village, a high priestess, a shaman, but really whoever that teacher was, education has primarily been about the transfer of knowledge from a teacher to a student. And frankly, that relationship, that fundamental business of education has been fundamentally and irrevocably changed. You all carry in your pockets, I imagine almost every one of you has in your pocket right this minute, a device, a smartphone that's capable of allowing you to directly access content knowledge without going through that intermediary of a teacher. And so we have to really imagine what is the role of education and what are the roles of schools other than the mere transfer of knowledge to which you already have a great deal of direct access. And so this process of change in schools and in districts is not something that the schools have done a lot. There's a lot of what schools do today that's really fundamentally the same as it was 50, even 100 years ago. Schools have not been forced to change very much. And so we have to ask this question: how do we imagine a future, and then how do we undertake these changes to actually get there? And at a really global or large sense, it's about building a capacity and a comfort for change. If an organization or an institution or the people involved in that have not been through a lot of change in the past, we have to develop the skill set and the imagination to change the organization by setting goals and by attaining those goals in ways that are meaningful and appropriate and best for all of the members of the community of stakeholders. And so that's kind of where I got brought in. This is what I do. I work with schools and districts around the country to try and help build that comfort and capacity for change and help design something that is uniquely powerful and uniquely appropriate for Warwick Valley. So I want to give you just a little bit of a hint of what that's going to look like and how you, the students, a very important critical ingredient, can help us get there. I created this sort of idea of how schools evolved, and when I started throwing words down, it came up to have this sort of cute reference on the left-hand side there, the word, the acronym Optimus. But really, it's about a process that it's ongoing. It's not going to be a 1 year or a 1 month or a 2 year process. This is a process of ongoing evolution of the organization of the school district. We want it to be very transparent and inclusive, to include you and your parents and other members of the community. And very importantly, we want to take into account you, the users, and what's important to you, not develop solutions based on what necessarily others are doing. We want to take that into account, but we want to really focus on the student users and the teacher users of the system to identify solutions that are going to work for you. What does this look like as a process? Well, we have to get together and start by thinking very expansively and not be constrained by our past. We asked expansive questions like, what if and how might we? Words and questions that allow us to think very broadly without being constrained by necessarily what we've done in the past. And we're going to listen to a lot to each other. We're going to listen to you, the students, and to our parents and other members of the community. We're going to acquire a lot of data through asking those questions and listening, and we've already started to do that. And once we acquire a lot of that input and data, we have to synthesize it. We have to organize it into a manageable fashion, understand what are the sort of biggest issues that people have identified and the things we want to tackle first. We have to narrow our focus. We can't solve all problems and address all issues all at once. So we're going to narrow our focus into those areas that we think will have the most impact. And once we've done that, hopefully later this spring, before the summer of 2016, we will have been able to write and validate across the district what we call a North Star vision, the big elements of how we want the educational process to change to be most effective for you in the future. Once we have that vision in place, we're going to reach out to the world around us, find out what others are doing, what other obstacles they've overcome, what successes they've recognized, recognizing that we don't have all the answers, but we can share and discover those from the world around us. And then we are going to design solutions to the problems we've identified. We're not going to try to find some cookbook recipe out there that is going to work for your school district. We're going to design solutions that are unique to the problems that we've identified. And then, once we've designed those solutions, it's up to the district leadership and your parents and the community to ensure that we provide and align the resources that we have, the money, the campus space, the people, the time you spend in school, really align those resources in support of the solutions that we've created. And then ultimately it's about just getting out and doing it and trying new things. Sometimes schools have a hard time doing that because we don't like testing things that maybe we don't know how it's going to all end up. But we have to just do that. We have to just try some of these things, prototype them in classes, and then take them to scale in ways that we think are appropriate for the district. So what does that look like over time, and how are we asking your Student Leadership Academy to participate in this process? Well, I tell you, it's really, really important. Student voice is tremendously important because ultimately the most important users of the education system are you, the students. And we're excited to invite you into this first workshop that you're going to have this week, and then get your ideas and hopefully have you participate for quite some time in the future. So let me just frame up what some of the questions and goals are that you're going to go over starting this evening and as we move forward. We've already talked about what that fundamental guiding challenge is that's been set out for us, really what should and can a Warwick education look like. This project, #TheirFuture, is very much a community-wide effort. Us, we are going to create that future. We're all going to be participating in it. It's not going to be an individual or a small committee that decides what the answers and the solutions to these issues are. And there are no right answers today. There are no prescribed solutions and outcomes. We're going to develop this as we go along. We're going to learn from what from the process and the prototypes that we put out there, and where those need to be changed, we'll change them. We're going to design the solutions really around the needs of the users. So we need to acquire that knowledge base about what's important to you, your parents, teachers, administrators, and other community stakeholders. And we need to do a lot of that data gathering really now, during January and February, in order to keep us on our timeline for creating that North Star and launching some pilot projects as early as next year. So in this first session this week that you're engaged in with Dr. Leach and your with your district leadership, you're going to do a few things. You're going to practice this skill of expansive thinking, of asking some of those questions like what if and how might we. You're going to practice rapid data gathering. You're going to see how you can very quickly acquire a lot of input and responses to those sorts of expansive questions from stakeholders without it being overly burdensome in terms of time. You're going to validate some of the key questions that we've been thinking about in terms of what are the questions that we should be asking when we go to our parents and to our larger community stakeholders. What are the important questions we should be asking that allow them to think broadly about the future? And then we're going to ask you to really actually start modeling this. We're going to ask you to brainstorm and design ways that your academy can help lead the early stages of this project, #TheirFuture. So I think you'll have a great session this coming week. Look forward to seeing the results, and I look forward to meeting a lot of you the next time I get back to Warwick Valley, which will be quite soon as we move this exciting project forward. Thanks very much.